Welcome everybody to the only wrestling podcast that matters. I'm your host, Jean-Paul Leek, and this is Rope Break. So here we go, guys. The Fallout show from AEW Revolution. Was it going to be, as good as the pay-per-view? Was it going to live up to the hype? Was AEW going to be firing, on all cylinders here, saying we're going to destroy NXT, even though we've been beating them every week, and the ratings were really going to, because we put on this awesome pay-per-view, so now we really want to, bury them in the dirt. This show wasn't a bad show in the slightest, in my opinion. It wasn't that fantastic, though. There were some good, surprise moments, but I feel like a lot of stuff hinted earlier in the day on Wednesday, and on Tuesday they hinted a lot of stuff with Matt Hardy, and the Exalted One was supposed to be here tonight, and we didn't really see that, so I felt like that was kind of like a bait to be like, oh, you're going to want to tune in, you're going to want to see if it's Matt Hardy or who it is, and it ended up being nobody because it wasn't on the show. But we did get to see Jake the Snake Roberts, which was definitely one of my favorite segments, if not my favorite segment of the entire show tonight. A new stable in a death triangle, so lots of really cool stuff going on, but it wasn't as hype as I guess it could have been, and that's only because I was looking forward to Matt Hardy hopefully being the Exalted One, especially how the Young Bucks were on his latest episode of Freeing the Delete. So with all that being said, before we get into the full review, like always, I just want to thank all the new subscribers to the channel. Everybody, please check out, if you haven't already, Monday Night Raw review. I go over everything that happened on this Monday Night Raw go-home show for the Elimination Chamber. Like I said, it really wasn't bad. We saw a good segment with Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre in the opening. And, we got new tag team champions in the Street Profits. That match will be, a rematch for the Elimination Chamber, so some good stuff going on there. Juan has some new soccer gameplay. FIFA, please check that out. Some awesome stuff. We definitely want to be getting into more video game stuff real soon, so that's just a little teaser for you, the soccer fans out there. And, so let's get right into this review. Jon Moxley, he comes through the crowd, belt on his shoulder, that beautiful AEW championship. He makes his way to the ring, chants of Moxley. The crowd, they don't even let him speak right away because, Moxley chants, you deserve it chants, all this stuff. Moxley says that this belt is beautiful, and it's not because of how it looks, but because of what it represents, and that's professional wrestling. And he said it's a sport that he's loved and he dedicated his life to, and that the belt never belonged to Jericho, but it doesn't belong to him either. It belongs to the people that, or it belongs to the people, and it belongs to every AEW fan that helped this company into existence. And he said that every fan said that they want something different, something better, and that they brought pro wrestling back. So Moxley will defend his belt with his life, and he'll crawl through any hell to defend the belt, and there isn't a man in AEW that has what it takes to pry it out of his cold, dead hands. But he isn't hiding. Anybody that wants to step up will get knocked out, choked out. He doesn't care. It's all the same. And he said he's no dummy. It's not over between him and the Inner Circle, and that they've been trying to take it from him, and he only has one message. I dare you. So then, boom, Judas hits, of course. Jericho makes his way to the ramp with Santana, Ortiz, Jake Hager, and Sammy, the whole Inner Circle. I guess Jeff Cobb was just a one-off thing. That was kind of unfortunate. I would like to see him in AEW, but maybe he has previous obligations. Japan, other promotions, wherever. Jericho says that he doesn't need a damn belt to still be Le Champion. That's badass. And then Jericho says Moxley's always been reckless, and this time it paid off. And he said the Moxley era does begin tonight, but Jericho says that he thinks the Moxley era sucks ass. And he said that's because Mox's win was based off a lie. He spent 3 months training to wrestle a man with one eye, and the fact that he was able to see out of both of those eyes means that he won the championship dirty. He's not worthy of being the champion. And he said, since you did win it unfairly, you've turned us Inner Circle. We were so good-natured and good-looking guys. You turned us into a hit squad. And he said that because of this, he put the entire AEW roster on notice. So he doesn't care if you're a librarian, Michael Nakazawa, or the new AEW champion, Jon Moxley. They're all going to get torn apart. And he said, and you know what, John, we're going to start with you tonight. And he promises that Moxley will not leave Denver on his own 2 feet. And he's so sure of it that if this happens, if Moxley's able to leave there on his own, he will leave AEW for 60 days. But don't forget, he always has a plan, and Moxley isn't as smart as he thinks. And then Moxley says that he isn't a genius, but he's so sick of hearing Jericho talk. He said tonight he's going to do what he did on Saturday, and this time he's going to send his ass packing for 60 days and make him look like a stupid son of a bitch. So, we got a really good opening segment here. Some back and forth between Jericho and Moxley. I feel like this has been the opening segment for a while, though. I would have started out with the Cody thing instead, and maybe saved this for the end. But I guess it all had to set up the main event. So, but I just feel like we always see Jericho and stuff first, just a minor thing. But I guess when you're the best thing on the show, that's what they're gonna want to play. But like I said, it was a great promo by Moxley. Complete white hot baby face. He's not, treading that heel territory at all. Yeah, he's tough, he's crazy, but everything's for the fans. That's typical baby face, but it's what they need Jon Moxley to be right now. And Jericho, of course, great promo. I don't think he's the best promo in AEW. I think somebody stole that from him tonight. But great, like I said, great opening segment, and it set up the main event. So what else could you ask for? So then we get into the first match of the night, SCU and Colt Cabana versus the Dark Order, and take you through some of the highlights of this match. Stu Grayson starts the match with Colt Cabana. He gets a good pop from the crowd. Grayson throws Cabana into the corner, but Colt is able to get out, and he hits Grayson with the leg scissors, and then the rest of the Dark Order attack Cabana and then knock SCU off the apron. Then later on, John Silver stomps away on Daniels, and then Grayson is tagged in, and he stomps on Daniels as well, but Grayson distracts the referee and the rest of the Dark Order. They all choke at Daniels. And then towards the end of this thing, SCU, they come in, they throw everyone to the outside again. Scorpio flies in from the outside, and then or to the outside, and Colt picks up Silver and puts him on his shoulders. Then he hits Silver with the Chicago skyline and follows it up with a Superman pin to pick up the victory. So, I didn't think that I didn't think the faces were going to win here, SCU and Colt Cabana. And after the match, Evil Uno, he was on the ramp, he had a microphone, he was screaming, he's like, no, this wasn't how it was supposed to go. He's like, the Exalted One, he's going to be all pissed, he's going to be so mad, and he's like freaking out, and he's pissed, and it sounds like he's nervous as well. So, maybe the lake of reincarnation for you, Evil Uno, if we get what we want, it's Matt Hardy, but that's the thing, I don't understand if they just did it for Colt Cabana and the pop, or maybe this is going to set up because the Exalted One is pissed, how they were the number 1 ranked tag team, the Dark Order, and then they lose here, now they drop down, maybe he's going to be pissed, and that's why he shows up next week. But other than that, this match wasn't bad. John Silver and Alex Reynolds, they're not the greatest wrestlers. Evil Uno's all right. Stu Grayson is really good. And everybody on SCU. And I'm not the biggest Colt Cabana fan. He's not bad. I don't know, just maybe I got to warm up to the character a little more. I haven't really watched many of his matches, maybe, less than 5 before watching this one tonight. So it's one of those things where maybe I just need to grow more fond of him, but it wasn't a bad opening match. Usually their opening matches are a lot better, but this was what it was. Alright, and next we got a women's match, Liebe Bates versus Big Swole. Come on, they're trying to build a Big Swole, that's fine. But Liebe Bates, you knew this wasn't going to be a contested match at all, and I really didn't even take notes on this thing because the cringiness of Britt Baker on commentary alone made me want to turn on NXT, but unfortunately, I had to sit through it, and Big Swole, she dominated this match. Peter Avalon tried to interfere. It didn't do much. She still hit Dirty Dancing for the 1, 2, 3. And like I said, I didn't even take notes on what Britt Baker said. If you didn't hear it, you were lucky. They were asking her about Big Swole. She's like, oh, I hope that's not her name on her driver's license. She was trying to come off cocky, and Big Swole was beneath her. But like I said, I don't know if she tries to emulate Adam Cole, what she tries to do. There's no way in hell that she is even within, the universe of being as good as him. She is just so awful on the mic. I don't get it. Just, if that's not how she is and that's how she can't cut a promo, then change her character around. And I keep I'm going to say it every week. I'm going to say it every time she says it. Every time she says, "Oh, I'm a role model," I just think of Bayley on SmackDown. So you're not even being original. You're stealing from, the rival company. So just not a good segment. And, like I said, the women's division definitely needs help. So then we get to probably my favorite segment of the night. Cody comes down to the ring with his awful new tattoo. I'm sorry, I just want to shoot on this tattoo. I don't remember if I really talked on it in the Revolution video. Awful tattoo. I thought it was fake. I was wishing it was fake. The fact that he got it, I'm sorry, Cody. I normally shoot on you. I say I don't like, you as a baby face. And sometimes in this feud, it was a little sickening, a little cringe. But this, bro, takes the cake for the cringe. I'm sorry. This is an awful looking tattoo, and if what I saw online is true and Brandy Rhodes hates it, bro, another reason to add to the checklist of why this tattoo is bad. So anyway, he comes down to the ring and he says that professionally, as a wrestler, you work your whole life to get on a pay-per-view. And then he said when you win, you get the winner's share of the coin purse. And he says that he doesn't know if he can take it. The lashes, the loss, unless MJF comes out, looks him in the eye, and tells him that he beat him fair and square. So does MJF's music hit? Does he come down with Wardlow, ring and all? No, we get Jake the Snake Roberts. You know what I mean? Like, did somebody go in like WWE, create a universe, and you hit randomize, and then the first match you get, you're like, looks good, let's start this career mode. I mean, I'm not complaining, but it was like Jake the Snake. I mean, I knew he was there. I think it was for Double or Nothing, or maybe it was Full Gear. One of them, he was like loading or he was like a poker dealer. So we knew he was affiliated with AEW in some sense. But to see him come down here was just a shock. I did not see this coming at all. So this was really cool. Roberts, he comes to the ring. He smells it before he gets in. That old school, like he hasn't been in a ring in how long. Let him just breathe that in, get all those memories back. And then he grabs a mic and he says that he's so tired of hearing Cody cry and bitch all the time. He said MJF whipped him like a dog and Cody got his ass kicked, plain and simple. But he said that's not why he's here. He's not here to praise Cody. He's here to slay Cody. And the only reason that he is here is he has a client who's going to be rising from the ashes like a phoenix. He said it took 20 years for him to get clean, and he's earned it. But if you think he's going to play nice, you have another thing coming. He will be on the outside of the ring when his client faces Cody, and Cody can even bring that one-trick pony Arn Anderson if he wants. What a snake wants, a snake takes. He's not in AEW for the whole pie, just for Cody's share. Jake leaves the ring and Cody looks on. Amazing segment. Like I said, this came out of left field. Nobody was like, oh, Jake the Snake will be on. People were saying Matt Hardy, some other stuff. But nobody said Jake the Snake, especially going into this feud and, moving Cody on from this. And then hopefully him and MJF don't touch each other for a little while to just kind of really build the tension. They can fire shots back at each other, but I don't want to see them, setting up a match for the next show for Blood and Guts. I think whoever his client is should be Blood and Guts, and then maybe the pay-per-view afterwards is when they have their final match, just because Blood and Guts is so close. I think it's next month, so... Then we move on to the next match, and this match was pretty good. We get Chuck Taylor versus Pac, and the story here was how, even though Pac is clearly the higher ranked and better, wrestler, Chuck Taylor, he's more fresh. He didn't go through that Iron Man match, go through the grueling match with Orange Cassidy, which you think, if you're going by the storyline, Pac probably underestimated him, and that's why the match was so good and it was so close and contested. So from this, some back and forth to begin, but Chuck Taylor, he gets thrown out of the ring. Pac takes the opportunity to get in the face of Cassidy, and then Taylor takes the opportunity to do a baseball slide onto Pac, and then he brings Pac into the ring and hits Pac with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. And then eventually the match goes back to the outside. Pac, he reverses an Irish whip and then sends Chuck into the barricade. And then Pac has full control of Chucky's arm and then throws Chucky into the corner. And then Taylor counters against Pac with a drop kick and then throws Pac out of the ring. And then Chucky nails Pac with a springboard and then rolls him back on the inside. But Pac counters a cutter and then Pac submits Taylor with the brutalizer to pick up the victory. So like I said, Pac had to I would say probably less offense than Chucky T in this match, but it was one of those things because they were, like I said, they were selling out all these grueling matches that he had. And then, as soon as he, got him in the brutalizer, he held him there for maybe 5-10 seconds, and it was done. Verbal submission. I don't even think it was 10 seconds. Verbal submission and done. So, Pac still gets the win. Chucky T looks pretty good, but, we all know the star of that is Orange Cassidy, and then I would say the next is Trent Beretta. And so, unfortunately, he's the Marty Jannetty of that group. And then the winner, like I said, is Pac. After the match, Cassidy gets in the ring, and he goes face-to-face with Pac. Hopefully this feud isn't over. I would like to see a more intense feud, maybe something with weapons, Extreme Rules, something like that. An I Quit match, we actually can hear Orange Cassidy talk. If he is going to talk, that would be something cool. But then when he gets in the face with Pac, the Lucha Bros come out. They super kick Cassidy. They take out Trent and Taylor, and then all three men stomp away on the Best Friends. And then they hit the assisted or like the stunt pile driver where Pentagon does the package pile driver, and then Phoenix jumps on him and like stomp. I guess the stomp package pile driver it's called, but they do that. I believe they did it to Trent. I'm not sure. But they hit that. No, I think they hit it on Orange Cassidy, actually. Yeah, they hit that on Orange Cassidy. And then, they're standing there in the ring, and Pac says that they're the Death Triangle and that nobody is safe. So I want to see these guys go after pretty much everybody. These are, like I said in the last week's video, Pac is the most underrated guy in all of pro wrestling. Underrated, disrespected, in my opinion. And the Lucha Bros are going into that category since they went to AEW. So you put the three of these guys together, the chip on their shoulder is huge. It's not like a Lay's bag where you only got 3/4 of it is air and the rest of it is chipped. No, these guys' chip is huge. So, like I said, this match was okay. But setting up this stable, really, really cool. I'm looking forward to what they're going to do. So then we get a match that, we go from one decent match, to a cool setup, to an alright, kind of match that really could have did without. This is when the show, it was like, okay, this is your bathroom break. QT Marshall with Dustin Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes versus Jake Hager with Santana and Ortiz. So Hager tosses around Marshall, and then the referee, kind of stops him, so Marshall, he gives him some some strikes, and then Hager just runs right through Marshall. Marshall goes flying. Hager sends Marshall into the corner, but QT runs into a boot, knocking him down, and then QT goes up top to hit a senton, and then goes for the cover. Hager kicks out, and then Hager runs off the ropes, and he crushes him with a clothesline, and then he locks in the standing arm triangle, forcing Marshall to submit. So Marshall got a little bit of offense in. Hager still looked strong, stood through most of his offense, and then once, Marshall got a little bit of momentum, he put a complete stop to it. Triangle choke, triangle arm choke, whatever you want to call it, and done. So Hager looks strong. And then after the match, he doesn't release the hold, so Dustin comes in. He attacks Hager. Quickly, Santana and Ortiz attack Dustin. Cody comes to make the save, but the numbers are too much. Obviously, there's still too much going on. It's only those two men because Marshall's done. And then he gets struck from behind with a chair. Matt Jackson comes out, and he starts to take it to Jake Hager. Hager's too big and strong, so he gives Matt some right hands. But Hangman Page comes out with a beer and all. And he sets the beer down, hits Hager with a buckshot lariat, taking Hager out. So it took Hangman, the drunk Adam Page. I love it. He has to come down, buckshot, and done. So then Matt asks Hangman, he's like, hey, man, we're cool. Are we okay? What's going on? Gives him the finger. Gotta love it. Hangman, you're still my favorite. You're still a badass. So things aren't done between them, and why would they be? Matt Jackson was the one who was super overly aggressive, against Hangman. Why would things be good? Just because, you want them to be good? No. So then we get the second best part of the night, the video segment with MJF. So the two best parts weren't even matches, and normally I praise them for their matches, and now they're giving us good promos, good, video packages, good, stuff like that. That's what I want to see more of. So you know what? They're doing a good job. They're doing what the fans want, like they say. So you can't knock them for that. Now just give us some decent women's wrestling. And then the video promo segment, MJF is with Wardlow, and he has a lot to say. And he said, I do something better than everyone else in this great sport, and that's pinning shoulders on mats and banging rats, aka winning. I went from protege to prodigy as I defeated and pinned Cody Rhodes smack dab clean in the middle of that ring. I proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that I, truly, was the final chapter in his epic little odyssey. Now I think that you, the AEW faithful, have a head author that you can count on. And I can assure you, I have a whole lot of ink for my legacy, and that legacy will read as follows. MJF, the greatest world champion in the history of professional wrestling. No need to change the channel, no need to fix the audio. You schmucks heard me right. And so did you, Mox, Jonathan Moxley. I don't care if it's you, I don't care if it's a guy named Timbuktu from South Peru. I'm going to become the #1 contender, and I'm going to get that gold, and I don't care who gets in my way. I don't care if it's Jericho, if it's Hangman Page. I don't care if it's Kenny Omega. I don't care if it's Pac. Hell, I don't care if AEW management wants to throw me some bones like the Lucha Boring, or Jungle Jabroni, or a teeny tiny Marco Stunted Growth. Because I'm going to remain undefeated here in AEW, and do you know why? I'll tell you why. It's because I'm better than you, and God, Wardlow, it's hot in here. You know, so he gets pissed off, and he takes off his jacket. And he has a shirt saying, I pin Cody. So then MJF says that the shirt is annoying and distracting, kind of like a neck tattoo. Don't you agree? The best promo ever, like, by this guy. This is such, like, you know what I mean? Everything he said here, there was humor, there was seriousness in it, there was cockiness, there was confidence, there was everything you want from a heel in this promo. And the shirt, the jab at the neck tattoo, perfect promo. This guy is a heel. You know, he does need to be a champion of some caliber at some point. If you're not going to create a mid-card title and give it to this guy, he has to take this thing from Moxley at some point, or, you know, you give, unfortunately, a transitional champion in there, and then he takes it from them or something, because he's too good to not, you know, be draped in gold. You know, what more can you say about this guy and his, you know, his work alone? His in-ring isn't the best, but his promo work more than makes up for it. So him, MJF, he needs to be a champion at some point in 2020. So then we get the main event, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus Jon Moxley and Darby Allin. So everybody's already out. Moxley comes through the crowd, and he's attacked by three members of the crowd, and these members are masked, and they take him through the arena. Smash his head on the walls, and the three men obviously are shown themselves to be Hager, Santana, and Ortiz. So they're beating down Moxley. He tries to fight back, but obviously the numbers are too much. So the crowd watches on. Moxley continues to try to fight back, but Hager puts the choke on Moxley, so, you know, he's pretty much done. Then Darby Allin gets in the ring, and he asks for the ref to ring the bell. So Darby quickly rushes, and he drop kicks Sammy out of the ring, and then he does the same. He knocks Jericho off the apron. The two Inner Circle men on the outside, they're collecting themselves. Darby throws Sammy into the barricade, and Jericho runs at him on the outside, but Darby hits a drop toe hold and sends him right into the ring steps. So then later on, the walls of Jericho onto Darby right in the center of the ring, but Darby struggles and he crawls towards the ropes. He eventually gets the rope break, and then Jericho gets up and flexes to the crowd. Darby's nearly out in the center of the ring, and Jericho picks him up and chops him across the chest hard. Sammy tags in, and then Sammy smiles and flexes as well, as both him and Jericho step across the back of Darby before Sammy tries for a pin. Darby's able to kick out. Then Jericho later on hits a lion salt. Darby gets his knees up. Jericho tags in Guevara, and he comes in, but he goes right back out, and he's clotheslined over the top rope. And then Darby goes up to the top, and he hits a coffin drop on the entire Inner Circle. And then Jericho is the only one to survive this whole ordeal, but he looks, and then Darby goes to hit a suicide dive onto him, but Jericho nails him with the Judas effect, and then he rolls Darby back in the ring, and Sammy goes for the cover and picks up the victory. So the winner, of course, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. It was technically a handicap match. Darby Allin still looked good in this match. You know, everything he did, he fought his way out of the walls of Jericho. He had great offense, against Le Champion and the Spanish God, so you got to give it to him there. He did look good, and it was clearly, the main story was it was an unfair match. Moxley was beat down on the outside. So then after the match, Moxley, he's able to get himself up. He comes out with a steel chair and he swings it on everyone, but the number's still too much because they attack Moxley. They take him up the ramp. Hager picks him up with the help of Santana and Ortiz, and they powerbomb him off the table, or through a table off the stage, leaving the AEW World Champion motionless. In the inner circle, they give the finger to Moxley as the show goes off the air. So clearly, he's not leaving on his own 2 feet. I mean, maybe he will. We saw what he fought out of when getting choked out. But can he walk through a table, walk after getting thrown through a table on his own 2 feet? We'll see. But I think Jericho's here to stay. So that was the show. Like I said, there was some good stuff. We saw, the so-so women's match with Britt Baker. That always takes me out of it. And we saw, the QT Marshall match was, okay. It was more just setting up the ending with Hangman Page and, Matt Jackson, I feel. But we did see some good stuff, like the Death Triangle. The opening segment was good. The main event was good. And, of course, Jake the Snake Roberts and the MGF promo were fantastic. So, like I said, it was a good episode of Dynamite. It definitely didn't disappoint. Just the women's division needs help. But, that's something that I feel like is going to take a little time. It's probably not as easy as we say it is. I'm still going to bring it up every time it's an issue. But I do understand sometimes things like that you can't change overnight. So, like I said, if you haven't already, please check out Monday Night Raw review, AEW Revolution, if you haven't checked that out. We have the English and the Spanish. Please check out both of them. And, the soccer video as well, FIFA gameplay. Check that out. And also, from a couple weeks back, check out Outbreak Wrestling, Symphony of Chaos 2. Some great stuff there as well. So, this week, obviously tonight, we're going to have NXT review for you guys. And then we're going to have, previews and predictions. Oh, well, I guess there's SmackDown on Friday. I'll mention that, but, that awful show. Well, watch our review, but don't watch the show. I'll save you 2 hours. Just watch Rope Break instead. But then we're going to have previews and predictions on Saturday for the Elimination Chamber. Rope Break will be there live. We'll be filming. We'll be laughing, having a good time. We'll be cheering, hopefully cheering and not booing too much. But we'll be there at the Elimination Chamber on Sunday, and we'll have a review from you. Probably right from the car, man. We don't want to keep you guys waiting, so we're going to film that right away. Then we get our live thoughts, live reactions, so it'll be really cool stuff. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Follow us on all our social media if you haven't already. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all laid out there. If you're a new viewer, please click subscribe, like the video, comment. Tell me what you thought. If you agreed, this was a good episode of Dynamite, what would you have changed? Or did you think it was a perfect show? And as always, guys, thank you so much.